Sounds good. Thank you, Marshall.
No problem.
All right, folks. Hi, welcome. Today is January 3rd, 2024. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everyone had a great holiday break. My name is Alex Manriquez. I'm a data analyst at CACE supporting CALPADS, and driving for us today is Mr. Gary Gerwer. So we're going to get started as we usually do. Moving on to announcements, we want to start off by just giving y'all a quick reminder. There was a message from the dashboard that was sent out on December 15th, and that was the day of our initial deadline. So some of y'all may have missed it. So we just wanted to let y'all know that that message went out. Thank you, Gary. It's up on the screen. And just letting everyone know that the 2023 California Dashboard and Data Quest reports are now publicly released. So just FYI, you can look at that. If you have questions, there's links specifically for who to contact, depending on whether you want to contact the dashboard or Data Quest. Moving on, the final deadline for Fall 1 is January 26th, and that is just 3 weeks away. We want to just give everyone a reminder that SELPA approval is required. You must have SELPA approval by January 26th in order for you to be considered certified. There was a message that just got sent out earlier today from the SPED office, and that was sent to within the SPED listserv, I believe. But it talks about Plan 619 F1, and the validation got turned off right before the initial deadline. It is now back on. And so that message is just to let you all know that we are expecting you to look at your revised uncertified, review it, make sure that you don't have those errors. If you do, you must uncertify and resolve those errors in order for you to certify a newer revision. The same can be said even if you don't have those errors. If you want to just take a quick look at your revised uncertified, if you've done any changes ever since you've initially certified, you can look at your reports and just make sure that maybe your newer reports on your revised uncertified have better numbers and better accurate data. As a reminder, you have the option to continue working without decertifying. And if you have questions about how to do that, we have a YouTube video available where we take you through how to toggle between revisions and how to decertify one revision and certify the revised uncertified. So you can look at that in our CACE's YouTube channel. And lastly, Fall 2 training is underway. So as a reminder, you have to have a Bridge account in order for you to sign up for those Fall 2 trainings. I think that is all on my end. Sean, Martha, anything else you want to add?
Nothing from me.
Nothing for me. You covered it wonderfully. Thank you.
Thanks. All righty. So we'll start then with question 1 from Mara, San Diego Unified. Question 1 says, I sent in a ticket in October 2023 regarding the invalid warning on mid-resolution details when different is selected. It's issue 6688. It's currently still high severity and sent to the developer. But what I want to know is whether I can still mark students as different despite the invalid warning, which says that a CCE will be created even though nothing is getting merged. I emailed back about this question in my ticket in November and December to follow up with this issue, but haven't received a response. Yeah. So whenever
number?
You want to take that? Sure, go for it.
No, I'm asking, like, can she put it in the chat?
Oh, the ticket number?
Yes.
Gotcha.
She did, didn't she?
No, she just put the PM number,
Yeah.
but not the ticket. But what I was going to say, though, is when we escalate a ticket over to as a bug, it's in a different queue, and we don't really see any replies that come from it. So your replies are probably just, they're there. It's just there's no one monitoring it because it's just waiting for it to be resolved. So I believe, Gary, you may know better. We need a different ticket, right? In order, if there's a follow-up question.
Typically, yes. I mean, you said it the right way, Alex. And I put the ticket number, I found it because I looked up the problem ticket, which had then the original ticket. So
Yeah.
as Alex mentioned, once we escalate and associate a ticket with a defect, we wait until it gets fixed. We're not looking for responses to that ticket anymore. And so the best way to get our attention on something that's already been escalated is to send in a separate ticket on that. Draw our attention back to it.
Thanks, Martha. We're going to move on now to Asia Q1. When
But
our
it didn't
cert...
answer her question.
Oh, it didn't. Oh, so sorry. There was a two-parter. I was just ready to move on. What's the so is it okay to still go ahead and mark it as different? I think so, because the warning is not true.
Yes.
If this right?
Yes, that's correct. I would say so, because you don't want to combine those students, definitely.
And I would agree as well. I think there's no harm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm going to move on. Asia Q1, when are Cert 48 and Cert 84 penciled to be fixed?
Oh, it's in this current release. So the release sprint ends on Friday and it goes in on Tuesday.
Awesome. Okay, so next Tuesday. Dan, Q1, hello and Happy New Year. I've been trying to get back on the listserv CACE for a few months now with no luck. I'm not sure why, but I was apparently kicked off last May. Could I please get some pointers on how I can get back on that? The only way I know how is just as Gary's driving is through the CDE website on listservs, and you send an email to, when you click on, you can send a message to subscribe CALPADS LEA. I'm assuming you've done that already. I don't know how else we would be able to.
I would say check your junk or your spam folders. If you, for some reason, when my LEA switched over to, we had two different accounts. My Google account would not accept all CDE items would land in that junk or spam folder. My regular account, it wouldn't. So one, check there. If it's not there, then I would connect with your IT department and ask them to ensure that messages from our server, so cde.ca.gov, are able to get through your server and there's no blockage on your end.
He's mentioning the CACE listserv.
I would say, Dan, submit a ticket. I think Rick normally handles these for the CACE listserv.
And
It would be Rick or Walt, I think.
Thanks, y'all. Sarah from Arcadia, Q1. For Fall 1, after reviewing the data on 16.14, the gen ed participation is low. We noticed that over 300 students have incorrect percentage in CALPADS in the plan section compared to the CACE file that was sent to CALPADS. It does not create an error for us, so we could not certify with incorrect data, but has this been reported as an issue? Was there a fix? This is the first I've heard of this. I don't know.
Are we doing something though with the percentage of gen ed? It's different in the SPED redesign, isn't it?
It is that now it's an exact number that they can give us, as opposed to before it was a range. It was a code. But I don't know of an issue where it's different.
Oh, and CACE
from what they're
CALPADS.
giving us, right?
Right, and in addition to that, Alex, which is correct what you pointed out, if you go to the 16.14, documentation rules should probably give you a little bit more of a sense of what are the business rules now are being used. And there is a distinction, as you know, that we converted it from the code categories of 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Now it's an actual percentage range that they are using. Thank you, Sarah.
So when we did the migration, you mean?
Yes.
Or data creation, I should say, during SPED redesign?
Oh, yes. And Brandy, can you please unmute Brandy? Brandy's actually in the...
What is she doing? Is this happy hour for you, Brandy?
Exactly.
We have different definitions of happy hour.
Brandy, can you hear us? Okay.
I feel like we should all be honored that she's here.
You should be.
Okay,
You should
yes,
be able to control.
Now I'm sorry. I haven't left yet. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So I wish it was happy hour. Yeah, but Joe's right. I've actually been getting this question a lot today. So just remember that for purposes of EdFacts report, or you guys don't know what EdFacts is. So federal reporting, sorry, is that when we report the percentage of participation in general education, we report it in ranges, okay? Much like you did last year in the SPED record. And so when we had to convert the record, remember that all you were reporting were those ranges. And so we had to pick a default value. And so that default value is what you're seeing in those records. And some folks are saying, well, that's not what it is in CACE or Cyrus. And that's totally fine. Because remember, ultimately for reporting purposes, it doesn't really make a difference because they'll just fall into a range. However, if you've made changes in the record and it would put them in a different range, for example, over 15% in special education, it would move them up a range, then I would advocate changing it. Otherwise, then you can just leave the percentage the same until their next either amendment or plan review or reevaluation.
And Brandy, you know, as part of the sample, Sarah actually pointed out that the sample that she has, it looks like they're actually going to the correct range, as you pointed out. You know, there's 3 categorical ranges that we're concerned of, and I think they're actually going to the right buckets there, or categories. Now, the thing that also, in addition to what Brandy mentioned, if they're really changing, you might want to also check when that amendment took place, right? Because if they're after census, well, guess what? You're looking at your SACE values there after census, whereas the CALPADS 16.14 report is as of census. So please take note of the effective start date there.
So,
Right. A couple of people chiming in. There's a Q2. I'm just going to take it because it feels like we don't have a lot of questions. From Dan, Q2. Sorry if I missed this, but any update on issue 6740? SPRG and SELA extracts are not generating with the correct data. We have an issue with our SIS that needs to be resolved first. That
So
needs
that
this to be
also
resolved first. Yeah.
is in this sprint that will code cutoff is Friday. It will go in on Tuesday. What is Tuesday, the 9th?
Yes.
And then we have to, that one doesn't require new revisions. You can just, hopefully after the build is in, you get to start using it.
Audrey's talking about that gen ed percentage in the redesign. Moving on to Asia's Q2. This is in regards to an existing ticket. We have a handful of students who do not have a CTE program record in CALPADS. These students completed a CTE pathway. Is it okay to survey these students as part of CTE completer survey?
Alex, I responded to the ticket.
Oh. Okay, cool.
and Alex, I think you skipped Amberetto's question.
She's up next.
Yeah, that's next on my list.
Oh, then got it.
We have an echo chamber, Brandy.
Oh no.
It's okay, just leave it.
All right, so now we're going to move on to Anne from Alameda Unified Q1. Can you repeat the information about the memo that went out from special ed regarding the error that was disabled before the fall 1 deadline on December 15th and what we are supposed to look at in our revised uncertified snapshot, please? Right, so that message just went out today, and that Plan 619 F1 is the error that we're talking about. Plan 619 is looking at students that were TK or kinder on census day, that were at least 5 years old on census day. And then it's looking at the plan record that falls within census day and making sure that that program setting code is within, it's not one of those preschool codes, right? That 201, 204, 203. And there was an issue with the DD, and so we disabled that temporarily. It's turned back on now. But because of federal reporting and some other things that the message said that I've not forgotten, it's important that you review your revised uncertified version to make sure that you don't have any Plan 619 errors. If you do, the expectation is that you have to decertify and resolve those errors, and then recertify your newer version of your revised uncertified with your 0 error count. And again,
any other errors
right,
that
of
may
course,
come up.
of any other errors that you have in your revised uncertified. If you, I believe that that message went out in the SPED lister, so you should all make sure that you're talking with your counterpart for your SPED world to make sure that you're both on the same page on what is being asked of you, and then they can
Or
give you
just
that.
subscribe to the lister. We're not, if you want to subscribe to it, you're more than welcome to. I put the link to subscribe in the chat.
Awesome. Okay. And we also, I mentioned we have a short video on how to toggle between revisions. If you're unfamiliar with how to do that, you can go to our CACE's YouTube channel and you can take a look at that. And we have a more expansive video that goes deep into detail if you wanted to get more information on revisions. So again, Gary's showing you in our CACE's YouTube channel. Sarah, we already talked about. Fabiola, Q1 says, hello and happy new year. As per Flash 248, we are not to report any preschool teachers. Would you please advise as how I can resolve fatal error SCSE 139F2, missing course section record for SDC preschool students?
Don't report their course.
I'm wondering if
That's
Because
correct.
fall 2, we just want to have TK through
Mhm.
grade 12 course enrollments.
That's correct, Martha.
So
I
we
mean, you
don't
can
look
put-
at students with disability necessarily in fall 2 in those earlier grades.
I mean,
so.
but they'd have a course code of 1,000 though, but then how
Mm-mm.
are you reporting their teacher? Go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say, I think state course code 1000 is going to be TK and up. There is no course for preschool teachers. So just delete the student course section enrollment records that you submitted for the students.
Yes, and that's what Martha was saying.
Yep, that's it.
Because and we agree. We in 2 meetings ago, we said that you weren't reporting. We clarified that you weren't reporting the preschool teachers, so you don't have anything tying it to it.
And if you need help, Fabiola, you can always contact me. I'll help you.
317, Brandy posted the email to subscribe to the SPED lister. So y'all can email that, send an email to that subscribe lister. Wendy, Q1. Does a TOSA need to be providing direct services to students? If this is not their primary function, can they be coded as a teacher? If not, which job classification and non-classroom based job assignment combo should be used?
Isn't that the new one that goes under TOSA?
And I think Nathan responded to that. So it would be a job class of 12, which is teacher, but then a non-classroom based job assignment of 6028, which is TOSA. And then because there's a non-classroom based job assignment, you don't need to provide us with a course or student course section. Rebecca from Lancaster, Q1. So sorry. Oh, no, this is new. Missed what you said about Plan 619 because I saw we have 34 of these on our new revised uncertified snapshot. Did you say there was something released that caused these? Because nobody is here to send up data to have caused these to pop up. Right, this just got turned back on, Rebecca. We disabled it before the initial deadline. It was resolved, and now we've turned it back on. And so the data was already there and it was incorrect. And so it's just now appearing for you, but we are expecting you to resolve those.
We refined the trigger logic because it wasn't working quite right. And rather than keep you guys from certifying, we disabled them temporarily.
All right. That was it. Unless anyone wants to talk about their 2024 exciting plans.
You know, going back to Rebecca, though, she says bummer, though. I think when we turned it off, we warned people. Wasn't there a message that said we were temporarily going to fix this
Yes.
but be prepared, we're going to turn it back on. And so now we are turning it back on. So you did have them before. Now, hopefully you don't have as many, but there's still some that were legitimate that you got to fix.
Right.
My advice is do it
And
as
you know what,
fast
very
as you
honestly,
can.
They were triggering. Many of you have these Plan 619 F1 errors, and many of them were totally legitimate. But the problem is that it was over triggering in some circumstances, and so you guys were really happy because your errors decreased a lot once we turned that off. And so, but we did warn you. Although unfortunately, some of you may not have caught it.
Nathan at 323 posted a link to our YouTube resolution on how to resolve Plan 619 F1. So if you are looking at your errors and you're not sure how to tackle that one, there's your link. And you can also access this through our CALPADS user manual too, if you're looking at our error list. Rebecca wants to talk about Haribo gold bears.
That's what Reddy sounds like.
I don't know. Carla has a Q1. I did not hear the answer as to when Cert 48 and Cert 84 are penciled to be fixed. Next Tuesday?
Yes.
Right, Martha?
Yes.
Next Tuesday. All right. Okay. And Q2. Can someone explain how to fix the Plan 619 F1 error in a way that a non-special ed expert person like me would understand, please? The error description doesn't help me.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
for it.
No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say the video may help, but you should go for it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely take a look at Nate's video because it's really much more comprehensive. But bottom line, Ann, is that the feds made a change to the way we report students that are in kindergarten and age 5. They made a change. So they moved them from an early childhood setting, which is how they used to be reported, to a school age setting. Okay, so they're in a different federal reporting category. And so because of that, we had to make a change in California that said anytime that a student is in transitional kindergarten or in kindergarten and turns age 5, they by default move from an early childhood setting to a school age setting. And so the reason this typically happens and you think LEAs get these errors is because oftentimes the program setting changes happen in conjunction with the student's plan review, their annual plan reviews, their annual IEP. And so let's say their annual IEP gets held in May. And in May, the student is still in that early childhood setting. They have not yet turned 5 or entered transitional kindergarten. So the next year comes around, they enroll in transitional kindergarten, and they happen to have turned 5 over the summertime. Well, their most recent record in CALPADS still reflects that they are in an early childhood setting. And so typically what has to happen is an amendment has to occur. And the amendment needs to be submitted before census day, because if the student is in those grade levels and that age on census day with an early childhood setting, it generates this 619F1 error. And so essentially they just have to submit up an amendment that reflects that the student, as of the age or as of the day they turned 5, if they had already been enrolled and subsequently turned 5, or as of the first day of enrollment, if they were 5, as of the date they enrolled in TK or kindergarten. Submit the amendment reflecting a school age setting, because it changes by default once they enter into TK or K.
Alrighty, we're going to move on to Andrew Q1. Is there a known issue for SCSE 139F2 errors? Nearly 7,400 appeared. No known issue yet. Chris responded that, are you sure the course section codes in the CRSC file match the codes in the SCSC file? And yeah, that would be my first assumption or troubleshooting tip, Andrew, is you'd have to make sure.
Did you send up your CRSEs that posted?
And if you have sent up your CRSE records, then let us know. It may be either a timing issue, or if you have an SSID example, you can submit a ticket and we can take a look and see where the mismatch is happening. But essentially your CALPADS is looking at you'll see it on the screen right here. It's looking at the course section ID, the local course ID, the academic year, the academic term. So all those have to match between the student course section record and the course section record. Otherwise, it's not going to recognize it as a parent record for that student course section. Rebecca says, Alex and CALPADS team and attendees, watch this YouTube video when you get a chance and you will understand my comment regarding let's talk about Haribo gold bears. It's so appropriate for our meetings and it's too funny. All right. Cassie, is Q1, is there time here today for infant questions such as?
I think the answer is yes, Cassie. We know the question.
Oh, here's the question. IFSPs held outside of county, related dates, etc. Can I unmute a lot with this one?
I don't care if someone wants to unmute her.
Got the time.
Yeah. Marsha, is that something you can do?
Okay, I think
I'm working.
right?
Yeah, I think I got
cool.
it. Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. So we're a county office of ed, and we have the early start, which is infant program. We're the only one in the county that does the infant program. So we have situations where the initial IFSP was held outside of the county by a region outside of our county regional center, and Then subsequent IFSPs were held by Far Northern Regional Center. To my knowledge, none of the regional centers report in CALPADS. Is that's correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So then when the Far Northern Regional Center holds like their amendment or their IFSP to bring on our team for their services, there's confusion on referral dates and, you know, parent consent dates, assessment dates, especially in situations where the student's not even assessed because they have like a medical that necessitates our team providing services for these kiddos. So we don't even assess sometimes. So I'm trying to get like a step-by-step, you know, what would be the initial CALPADS affirm? Would the initial CALPADS affirm process be done? Like, would they use the initial dates from the very first IFSP that was held outside of the regional center? Or do we start with dates where Far Northern brings our team on?
So if the initial has been held by a regional center, I believe that it would be important because your county office is going to end up serving the student, and therefore, if they're going to serve the student, would be required to conduct subsequent plan reviews on an annual basis, and you'll be held to that. What you should do, and Joe, chime in if you think something different, is number one, you should create a baseline of a meeting record of when their initial evaluation was held. Okay, but the plan that you should put into CALPADS and into your IEP system is the most recent plan that the student entered with. So if they're now going to be served by the county office, you should adopt the plan that's in place at the time that you will start serving the student.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay, so we would adopt not the initial way back, which was back in, I think, 2019. Since then, there have been several, one on April of 21 and then October of 22.
Yes.
So we would want the most current from Far Northern, who is the most recent bringing us in.
Right. But again, what's in, so are you a SACE user?
Yes.
Okay, so you might want to talk to SACE. So certainly you want the most recent plan that is in effect for the student, particularly if several amendments have been done. The issue is that oftentimes SACE will always associate a IEP with a meeting, right? And so in these cases, they were just amendments that were being held. So you want to submit the latest IEP that was created as a result of either a plan review or an amendment. But what you do want to do, because we don't have a history of it in CALPADS, is indicate the most recent plan review meeting that was held for the student, if there was one after their initial evaluation.
Okay, and then so what would we indicate as their initial SPED entry date?
Their initial SPED entry date is the initial date they entered into special education in Part C, which is when the regional center started serving them.
Okay.
And that will be true when they transition to Part B as well.
Okay. Okay, I think I've got a starting point at least. There are a lot of
Well, and Cassie, if you have further questions about this, just go ahead and reach out to, and I'll just respond to you really quickly. The SPED data support listserv, or not listserv, their email, and they can give you further guidance on, the dates to use in those records.
Okay, perfect. That would be awesome. I'll connect via that email. Thanks so much, Brandy. I appreciate your help.
No problem.
that was the last question as far as I'm concerned, unless I missed anybody.
Doug Hawkins had a good comment for Andrew about that CRSC file. If there was a large file posted and then a small one posted after that, that is a full replacement on those fields, the primary key fields or operational key fields. So it could wipe out a lot of your records except for what was reposted. So you got to be careful with those.
That's a good point. All those full replacements. Looks like that's it.
Not seeing anymore.
Oh, Q3.
Oh, there.
Brandy, your mic sounds kind of dubstep. Can you please
I
say,
know
I don't, you can read that one.
Wub dub dub. What? Wait, wub dub? Is this like an SNL thing? Because I clearly don't stay up late.
Yes, it is, Brandy. Don't do it.
I'm sorry.
It's, Brandy, if you have your mic on your laptop open and a headphone mic, that it will cause that type of echo.
I don't. It literally is just my computer mic. This is why I usually call in on my phone. I was just being lazy.
Yeah. I like
Like
it though.
Brandy, you can hear the echo. Me, you can barely hear. I'm just like, hey, it's okay. We'll get it worked out one day. I'm going to do a small plug. So for those of you that have your, oh dang, what do they call LMS accounts?
Mhm.
Did I say the acronym right? Yes,
Mhm.
I think so.
Bridge.
The bridge.
Yes, there you go. Please make sure that you are registered for your fall 2 trainings. They are important, I promise you, even if you are a longtime veteran. Yes, please make sure you're either watching them on the YouTube channel or if you have your Bridge account for your LEA admins, that you register and attend at least one of them.
Thank you. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, if I think last time I said if something is posted in there, you'll get an alert if you click the little bell at the top, the notification bell. Once it hits, sometimes it hits before the flash hits your inbox or something like that. That way you can stay up to date on everything, even the Q&As. I'm going to keep them up. That's one of my things this 2024. I'm going to try to keep them up to date this year. Faster.
We have a Q1 from Sinyon says, I cannot watch bridge videos or click on the links in the email from Chrome.
That's going to be an IT issue that you're going to address.
And Sandy Madrid is wishing Brandy a good trip. Tengas buen viaje.
Thank you, Alex, for translation, because I was literally about to Google.
I mean,
Rebecca has a Q2. It says, we used to get certificates for completion of the CACE courses. This would have been good for newbies, but now the only person who can watch and attend them is the LEA admin. Why did this change?
They can watch the recordings
Because
of it.
we went to a learning management system and it was licensed, and we're responsible for educating the LEA. That's how our support structure is set up. We can't support 10,000 users with our crew. And so we train the trainer. That's always been our hierarchy, if you will. And in the past, we would let anybody come to our meetings. But now that we have an LMS and we want to take, I think, better manage the courses that we offer and who's been taking them, you have to have an account for us to do that. And it's restricted to per LEA.
Yadira says, okay. I was able to hear everybody, so I just want to make sure everyone can hear us. Okay, cool. So that was just, yeah, they got having audio issues. We're back at the end of the question. It's 15 minutes out. We can.
You're off
I
the
think
hook,
so.
Alex.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
the-
you.
First one of the year.
Done.
What did we get? 87. We didn't break 100 today.
Yeah.
No, but we maxed out, I think, at 90 or 92. I saw it earlier. I was counting Martha for us.
Yeah.
I was, yay.
But we didn't break 100.
No, we
Yeah.
still didn't. Sorry.
It's pretty good for
Okay.
right after
Yeah.
the vacation, though. It
I'll
is.
take it.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
everybody. Hope you have a great start of the year. We'll see you next week.
Okay. I got it from here, Alex. Good job.
Thanks, Marshall.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.